What y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up on the wall. Yes, sir. Yo, life is full of options. Switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything. You can put your mind to. Give me the audio chord so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, warps feel like it's intergalactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship like Han Solo by the castle mines, like Cowboy Bebop with jet and spies, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far like Adama did in a battle star. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat, take it off. Like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up on the wall. Yes, sir. Keep your windows down. Breeze hitting, you didn't know, but you know now. I'm not kidding, there ain't no stopping. BSing is not an option. I just wanna see everybody rocking. I wanna see you getting higher than a rocket. Land a spacecraft with Neil and Buzz Aldrin. She in the cockpit, cruising at an altitude up there where all the stars live. Take the TARDIS back to Gallifrey, where the guardians of the galaxy, like Superman and Lois Lane, go to Cybertron on the Astro Train. I just want to see you do your thing. If you don't know now, then you'll learn. From the earth to the moon, influenced by Jules Verne. I'm not concerned about what y'all gonna do. We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up on the wall. Yes, sir.
Packing up for another trip. If you drive by my way, really there is no rush to this. We can rock night and day. Intergalactic love for this. Take me to outer space. Beat me up on that mothership so we can fly away.
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the sun.
Are we going somewhere?
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer.
Where we going, baby?
Ooh. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. Like
What y'all trying to do?
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy. Cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo, ayy.
Hey, everybody, you know what time it is. It's Wednesday night. It's another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. And tonight, we have a special topic that's near and dear to my heart. We're talking about being burned out, being overwhelmed, and being in love. Being all those things while you're in a relationship and how you navigate that. And I have an extra special guest that's going to help me out with this discussion. But before we get into that, we had a couple things we need to discuss. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube page, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click that bell, and make sure you click the bell and make sure it says all, because you want to get every notification. And tonight, if you like what you hear, make sure you click that thumb. The thumbs are everything. Give me some of those thumbs. Make sure that you chime in the comments and let me know where you're from. Say hello, all those good things. And it'll just make me feel all warm in the front of my chest right here. So if you have not been here before, this is also an audio podcast. And You can listen to it everywhere. In your earphones, in your car, in the bathtub, I guess. Just make sure it's no wired products going in there. But yeah, we're everywhere. We're on all major platforms. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music. So just go everywhere. Go where you normally get your podcast, and I'm there. So the last thing I want to do, because I really want to get into this, is also for you first timers, the way that I normally run the show is I'll pause for 3 seconds. I'll start the podcast, and then I'll pause for another 3 seconds at the end so I can chop it off on both ends and have the good audio in the middle so that you guys can enjoy it at your leisure. And if you haven't gone to the YouTube channel or the audio podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts or whatever, it's about 120 something episodes there. So you can go and choose and pick your poison. There's a lot of great topics, a lot of good things there, and I'm sure you get a lot of value out of it. So without further ado, give me my 3 seconds and we'll start the show. And welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones and I'm your host. I'm a certified life and relationship coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And tonight's show, we're going to be touching all up and through there on the mental health side, but we're also going to relate it to relationships. So tonight, what I wanted to do, the topic is called Burned Out, Overwhelmed, and in Love. And we normally talk about mental health, things like stress and depression and anxiety, and we talk about how it affects us. But I very rarely hear people talk about how it affects like the people in your home, your spouse, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. We're going to talk about how feeling overwhelmed and burned out affects the people you love the most. So I'm going to introduce my special guest, Kiki Chanel. She's all over the place, man. I'm gonna go ahead and bring her up, and then I'm gonna say my little 2 seconds, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself and let you know what she does and how to find her. So hold on 1 second. Let me make sure that she's in here good, and she should be able to say hello. Hello. Welcome to the show. I do want to say this. So y'all know, if y'all have ever watched any of my shows and the guests that I bring on, I don't just pick random people. I study, I look at their profile, I look at how they move, I look at how they speak, and I also look at how intelligent they are. I always try to bring y'all smart folks on here and people that, number one, first and foremost, care about people. And when I tell you, this lady promotes everybody she connects to make sure that she shares the love. And so we gonna give her some love tonight. And I'm gonna let her tell us who she is and a little bit about what she does, so that we can get to know a little bit about her. And then we're gonna get right into this topic. So the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Derek, thank you for having me. It is a pleasure being on your platform. Guys, I am Kiki Chanel. I am an award-winning author, lifestyle blogger, a writing coach, as well as a certified life coach who specializes in personal growth and mindset. I love, helping people unpack mental baggage so that they can tap into a new mindset through positive personal growth to live their best life as their best self. So that's what I do. And I love supporting people. Like Derek said, I'm all over the place supporting people, sharing the love. So why not?
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's something, like I told you before we came on the show, I champion supporting and collaborating with people, and I love connecting with people that do the same, because that way this thing can grow exponentially. We need each other,
Right.
and I'm gonna be saying that until I'm not here anymore. We need each other. All of these solo artists out here saying I can do it by myself. You can't. So we're gonna get into this topic, being burnt out, overwhelmed, and in love. So I'm gonna start by saying, this, and I told her this before too. This story right here, I've been there multiple times. I may be there again, who knows? But just being burnt out. And the first question I'm gonna ask you, Kiki, is when we talk about being burnt out and overwhelmed in the household or like within your family structure, and especially we want to pinpoint. You said you're married, right?
Right.
Right. So like your husband, how does So I'm gonna take you on a journey tonight. So we gonna compartmentalize this. So just follow my lead. So
Okay.
the first question is, being burnt out and overwhelmed. What without even mapping it into a relationship, being burnt out and overwhelmed, what does that look like to you? You can either say it personally or in general, being burnt out, like what does that has that look like for you? What did it feel like? Kind of thing.
Well, being burned out for me, on a personal level, I suffer from migraines, and so when I don't get a proper rest or eat right, and feel like I'm overworking myself, that burnout kicks in. So I suffer from it with the migraines. I may uh, be irritable, so I'm walking around the house all upset. I try not to
Hmm.
take it out on my family because we shouldn't take things out on the people that we love, but unfortunately, they always get the worst of it, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, being overwhelmed and burned out is something that we all have suffered from, and it's something that as you grow spiritually and mentally and emotionally, you become more intentional about it. So you find ways to cope with that burnout and the overwhelming. For me, I do yoga, I practice meditation, I pray a lot, and I love being one with myself. I like walking outside barefoot. That
Mm.
like get in the ground, like grounding,
Grounding. Yeah.
getting putting my feet in the dirt, becoming one with the nature. I love that, and I'm in Louisiana. And so my grandfather had a farm. It was nothing for us to be outside all day barefoot. I can run you down now, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
my
that's
my
how I deal
family
with it.
my family's from South Carolina, so I guess I need to tap into my southern roots because I live in DC now.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, the bare feet on the grass. I need to do that one day. I'm a city boy,
Try
so
it. I bet you it becomes like profound for you, because you once you tap into the meditation and you become one with the earth. For me, it was like wow.
yeah,
I can't really tell you a pinpoint one specific thing that I learned about myself, but it was very insightful.
yeah. So I'm a speak to what it looked like for me.
Hmm.
Before I could even call it a thing, it was, and I think a lot of us do it, and a lot of I always want to pinpoint men because men are the ones that do a lot of this stuff and deal with this stuff, but you never hear about it. As you know, there are a lot of women that try to hold it back too, but for me, it was taking care of everything and everyone and putting me last on the plate. And
Hmm.
so a lot of times the feeling of overwhelmed was something that I self-imposed because I thought that everybody needed me to be the one to fix everything and do everything and make sure everybody's straight. And as you know, once you keep doing that over and over again and the people pleasing and all of this kind of thing, it becomes a burden. It gets heavy,
Yes.
and you start to feel overwhelmed. And then I start, learning that some of these things I was feeling was depression and stress and anxiety. And I'm like, oh, these things have names. The
Right.
whole time, most of my life, I'm just like, I can handle it. I can handle it. It didn't really hit, and I talked about this on the show several times. It really didn't hit me until it started affecting me physically. As I got older, the stress was hitting different, and everything was
Hmm.
just compounding itself. So while I'm dealing with the physical turmoil of dealing with the stress, I'm still applying the same amount of pressure from before I felt like that. So, and then we're gonna segue into how it turns you into something that may not necessarily be relatable in your home. Um, so I think for me, I think I've always been the person to try to fix everything and fix everyone and what do you need me to do? And so in relationship, and not just the one I'm in now either, I think this has been a pattern for me. Um, I think for me it wasn't necessarily taking it out on them in a conventional sense, but it was more being adamant about hiding it from them,
Mm, right.
right? And just saying I'm good, I'm all right. Like women, y'all always know when something's wrong, and y'all be
Yeah.
looking at your man like, something ain't right. Are you good? And they be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
I'm good. Like, okay, why your face like that then?
Yeah. So I think, and Alicia, my wife, had, in the beginning, she would always say, Derek, something ain't right.
Right.
You different. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I'm not. I'm good. And I would say maybe maybe the first few years, she was just like, it almost kind of, and we'll speak to this later, it almost kind of pisses you off that you can't get the information like as the other spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend, because you're
Mm-hmm.
like we supposed to be tight. Why are they hiding this from me?
Right.
And I think that's a lot of us show up in that way. And I'm looking at my little. I keep looking to the side because I'm looking at my notes, and I already know we jumping all up and through and hopping through this thing. So I'm not even gonna stick to the order anymore. So, I'll finish this little section up for myself at least with saying that a lot of people deal with these things that fall under the umbrella of mental health, like I said, depression, stress, and all that thing. And then you also have these things we know and love, these little people, these kids and family
Yes.
members, and all these other things that compound everything else that you have to deal with, and work stress and all these other things. And then it's like, and this is what made me think about doing this topic, is when you have all of that on your shoulders, you still got to come home and be like, hi honey. And it's
Yep.
like, so if you have anything to piggyback on that, at least how it feels, or maybe how it shows up with how the other partner may take it, or take it wherever you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a talker. I like to communicate. So if something is bothering me, I like to express that. Sometimes it may come across as very blunt because I grew up in a household where my mama was blunt. She talked to us, we talked to her. She didn't care what she said. Sometimes she, hurt your feelings. So we grew up
Hmm.
developing thick skin. So I had to learn over time that sometimes my approach is not the best way. And I need to sit back and put myself in the other person's position and say, you know what, you coming across as this asshole right
Uh
now,
huh.
and you really don't need to be that. But I'm also the type of person where, like you said, if I feel the energy is off and I ask about it, and then you deny me or I don't want to talk about it, I feel some type of way, so I shut down.
Hmm.
And so being overwhelmed and burned out, like I have my own stuff going on. So I'm not gonna
Hmm.
let you in what I got going on because I already know that you have something going on, but you're not trying to let me in. So now we both have walls. We're projecting. I'm
Yep.
making you feel some type of way. You making me feel some type of way. And then everybody just got like attitudes or the energy is just toxic. But
Yeah. 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 I felt that. And that segues into the next bullet point that I have written down here. It says, am I a burden to my mate? Sometimes we feel like
oh,
when we're going through stuff that we don't want to bother our husband or our wife or whatever, or boyfriend or girlfriend, or whatever whatever y'all people doing these days. Um, we, we
right.
we feel like we're a burden because a lot of times, and I'll even speak for myself, we'll watch our partner go through things, so we don't want
Hmm.
to add on to them, so we don't even say, like, we keep it in. And that feeling of being a burden is the most debilitating thing, because you never get what you need to get to help you through, because nobody else knows but you. So
Absolutely.
that I felt like that so many times, where I was like, if I share that I'm feeling like this, and I know that she already has a lot of stuff going on, how do I even interject that in? And we don't realize that in a perfect best case scenario, we've married the person that's supposed to be caring enough that they should be able to listen to you. But we forget about that because we going through so much stuff, and we're
Uh-huh.
overwhelmed and all this other kind of stuff, and we like, I don't want to put that on them. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. But it always ends up coming out some way, somehow. You can't keep that pressure cooker closed for
You
too long before it
cannot.
blows up. So if you want to speak to
Right.
that about feeling like a burden, if you've ever felt that way, or if you felt like, maybe your
I
partner or someone
have.
felt that way.
I have. Not so much as feeling like a burden to my partner, but I was a teenage mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt like, going to school full time, working full time, being there for my daughter, just life just coming at you, life be life, and right. So I felt like at one point I didn't want to be here, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want my daughter to be a burden on anyone by leaving her behind. So I
Mm-hmm.
was kind of selfish, and I thought about, taking me and her. And I'm so glad that the voice of God spoke to me and said, you know what? Stop. Don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take a step back and breathe. And I think that was life changing for me. So I became more intentional about the relationships that I had. I became more intentional about the thoughts that I allowed to infiltrate my mind, the things that I consumed mentally, emotional, like things you listen to,
Mm-hmm.
watch on television, eat. That plays a big part in it. So I believe that we project when we feel like we're going to be a burden toward somebody, and we have to realize that 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 may not be the case. But how will we
Right.
know if we don't tell?
Right.
So for me, it was, I became that person that if I have to express myself, I'm gonna express myself.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with you. I just need to get it out of me so I can
Right.
release that, so I can help myself maneuver through it, and then let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's how I deal with that.
Yeah, the person on the other side, like, like, let's say one person is feeling like they're a burden, and the other person is sitting there in the dark, like we just said, like they don't know, they're trying to get the information out, and it's like
Mhm.
it's not fair. Like you
Right.
really, if you really think about it, and that's what I always tell people, you're afraid to share and communicate with the person that you're supposed to love the most. It
Absolutely.
doesn't even make sense, right?
It does not make sense. And for anybody who has someone in their lives like that makes you feel like, okay, it's an argument or whatever, if I'm trying to communicate and express myself to you, that y'all need to take some time and evaluate the relationship.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if I'm not able to talk to you about everything, and I've been told that I overshare, and that may be the case, but I'm like, how can I overshare when you're the person that I want to talk to
Right,
and tell
right.
about these things to? But not I had to realize that not everybody grew up with that background of having someone to allow you to communicate your feelings and have discussions around the table or cooking or whatever. And I had that. So
Right.
once I realized that not everybody had that foundation, then I was able to step back and say, you know what, let me see if I can put myself in their shoes, and then go from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's tough to navigate um for somebody who may feel like they're a burden, or somebody who's choosing that. And I'm going to segue into the next part here. That's the
Mhm.
communication alone.
Oh yeah.
It could be something. The non-communication could be something that ultimately destroys a relationship if it goes unresolved. Because I always talk
Absolutely.
about on the show how big communication is, and the interpretation of the communication
Yeah.
is big as well. And so when you're not talking, and you have the other partner that cares about you, that's trying to get the information so that you can come to a common ground. Because at the end of the day, let me tell you about, like, even with Alicia, right? When I
Hmm.
finally was able to feel comfortable to share, she was there to help. Like, she was
Yeah.
there to say, I got you. Oh, you feeling
Yeah.
like this today? You know what? I got the trash. I know you normally do that, or I got this. Just have a seat and lay down. Lay down. Like, we build, like you said, we build these scenarios in our head about how
Mhm.
other people may take it, and we really are not allowing the people that are there, that love us, that could help us through it. We're not even letting them in. So it's like it's a self-fulfilling thing. Like, when once I was able to do that, once I let the floodgates open,
Oh
now it
yeah.
just comes out. Now it's just like, hey, you know what? Today ain't the day. I let to work or whatever it was. I just need to sit down. And I think, like, and I always say this, especially men, we need to do this more, man. And I know there's some women who are bad communicators too, but we be getting mad at y'all because y'all be trying to get that information out of us. And it's like,
Listen,
you.
man, look. No, I know. And so I hate that because, like, can we just all get along, like, communicate? But you got to be able to comprehend what I'm saying, and it's all about the delivery. So you can't go in it all yelling and coming at somebody a certain
Right.
way. And I've been guilty of that too, and I had to get checked, and I had to
Right.
check myself and say, you know what, that was kind of harsh. I should have said it another way. And so now, when I'm having conversations with people, it flows better
Right.
because the
Right.
intention is set. I
Right.
know that it's all done in love. And if I have something to say, they're going to listen to me and vice versa. So I think that, cultivating any relationship, it has to have that communication in order to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's huge. That tone and delivery that's I talk about that on the tone police. As soon as that voice start elevating, it's just like I can't. Like we gonna have to bring it down.
Yeah, because I
You
don't
gotta
like
bring.
arguing. I don't like
Yeah.
arguing. I don't
Yeah.
like confrontation.
No. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That. What I do want to point out too is sometimes, and it could be male or female, when we get frustrated with the person who may not be sharing, but they're going through something.
Mhm.
It after a time we just want to force it out of them. We get mad, and
Yeah.
that's when the tone starts to change and the language starts to change, and we don't realize that that's making it worse. Like now
Yeah.
they like if they wasn't talking to you before, you definitely ain't getting it now.
Right.
You
Like, nah, I'm
definitely
good.
yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, you definitely, and that's the thing. Like where we, you know, in a loving relationship, and I want to preface it with that because I know folks are dealing with things. That's why we're here to try to help people and therapists
Mhm.
and everybody. Like people are out here that are trained to help you understand how life works and how to navigate through it. But you you have people who, if you're in a healthy loving relationship, like we got to handle each other with care because
Right.
these communication disasters, they hurt, and
Yeah.
people don't realize that hurt carries over to the next one and the next one
Mhm.
and the next one and the next one. And if I'm going through something and I'm like depressed, and you try to force it out of me, now not only am I depressed, but now I'm starting to build I'm resenting you now because I'm like, here's the funny thing, right? And I know you know this. We'll be going through something, but we'll punish you for not knowing what we're going through, even though we
Yeah,
didn't tell you.
absolutely.
it
Yes.
That's crazy
But
how
I'm
that
like,
works.
we cannot read minds, and I'm not even trying. I don't want to know what everybody's thinking. I just couldn't have that superpower
Yeah,
because I don't know. It would be a disaster. But you can't get mad at someone for not knowing if you don't let them in or tell it.
yeah,
And I do this exercise with some clients where if you're not a communicator, write it down and give it to them. As long as you're releasing it, then you've done what you needed to do. And that way, if they don't read it, it's on them for not reading it. At least you did give it to express how you feeling.
right,
So
right.
yeah, communication is
Yeah.
love say I
Lo-
want to know.
Love Tucker says, I want to know what's going on. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's the thing, man. Like,
I got to know. Yeah, I'll be wanting to know too.
yeah, and the thing about it is a lot of that stuff comes from maybe some trauma you had in the past where you just don't feel safe to share it. And some people have
Mm-hmm.
never shared with anyone.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
so it's like you think it's you, but it's everybody. so
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's tough. It's a tough cookie to crack, but that's why I say we have to handle each other with care because you never know when that moment comes where it's the breaking point where that person is like, okay, now I have to share it and I feel comfortable, and the person isn't saying, why aren't you, that mm,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough,
Mm-hmm.
especially for people who aren't good communicators. The worst thing you can do is yell and scream and try to force stuff out of them. It will make them shut down for the rest of their life.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't take much.
Yeah, and
So
I find that over time that most people that are not good communicators, either they don't know that it's
hmm
okay to open up without
hmm
judgment, or
yep,
being made to feel a certain way, or they so used to arguing they think that arguing is communicating, and it's not.
yeah, Yeah, isn't that crazy? Well, I won't say crazy because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. Isn't that funny?
Right. Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that funny how that works? Like when you actually here's the lesson in this tonight, guys. Once you take the time to sit back and really evaluate your life, really evaluate yourself, evaluate your relationship, taking time to do that, some of this stuff sounds silly. It's like, why are we even why what? You afraid to tell me that you tired? You think what do you
Right.
think I'm gonna say? Like
You think I'm gonna say you lazy? Get up and go do something. You ain't tired.
yeah,
No,
it's if
no.
you really with somebody that's really rocking with you and they care about you, they're gonna give you that time and that grace for you to get yourself together, and they're gonna try their best to help you through it. And if you sometimes you don't
Absolutely.
even want help, you just need to breathe and just kind of
Hmm.
compartmentalize and figure out like what's going to happen next, and you want to give your partner the option to help or the option to stay away or the option to know, like I always talk about with especially with men, because a lot of us are just we haven't been taught or trained and we don't know, I don't know, whatever, it's a whole list of things of why, but sometimes you'll get um coded messages that means things,
Uh-huh.
and I'm tired could mean like five different things. It could be depressed, it could be stressed, it could be, and but the fact that you were able to get the I'm tired out of a person that probably doesn't want you to know that they're tired, the fact that they said
Hmm.
that, take it as a step, a gift, and maybe that'll escalate into something later. Don't try to poke and prod too much, or it's gonna
Right.
backfire on you. So
Right.
um so the next thing I want to do is I want to I'm looking at my stuff because it's now the order's all just jacked up now. So hold
I
on,
see
let me
some people in
see.
here. Shout out to my nephew Braden and my client Miss Laura. Shout out for
I
tuning
see.
in.
Yeah,
Thank
shout
you
out to you
guys.
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for chiming in. And hey Kent, that's my cousin. We so with this thing about being burned out and overwhelmed, and I also want to put in there people that are living in survival mode
Oh
on a
yeah.
daily basis, and couples together that are living in survival mode. So here's another dynamic that I want to throw in. We were talking about somebody who's feeling burnt out and how they navigate the relationship, but what if both people are going through it at the same time? Have you
Oh,
ever
I can relate
experienced
to
that
that.
before?
I can relate to that because in 2020 we lost a daughter to a
Oh
fatal
wow,
car
sorry to hear
accident,
that. My
and
condolences.
right when the pandemic was hitting, so
Mm.
she was coming home from college, and so everybody inside or whatever. So it's like we had to try to work through our new normal and be there for each other, but didn't know how because we're both in this grief. Like we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I'm gonna get out of bed the next day. So it's like, how do I help you when I can't even help myself? And so, with the other kids involved, so you trying to be there for them and making sure that they're good. So it's a lot. It's still a lot, but I learned to take one day at a time. I have a great support system. Um, I realized that I cannot press people who are not ready to accept things
Mm-hmm.
for what they are. And I had to realize that I cannot carry other people's pain because I have my own.
Right. Right. Right.
And when that revelation hit me, it was almost like, okay, God, I can breathe. Cause it was like somebody was sitting on my chest and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how I was gonna make it. So
Yeah.
now I just live, one day at a time because it's still hard. It'll probably always be hard, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, each step gets a little lighter.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
And that I know that there's like this all out war on marriage these days, but that's that's one of the benefits to having somebody that's kind of there with you in that way. Um,
Mhm.
because as two people could be going through a crisis at the same time, or they could be going through individual crises just simultaneously. That
Mhm.
that the foundation that you've built over time, the love that you have, and how you connect in a situation where you both still love each other. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, there's some grace somewhere there in the middle, and maybe it takes some time to get to it.
Mhm.
Um, but it's beautiful once you're actually able to share it. Like
Right.
I can't express that enough that when you're able to really just peel back the layers and just be open with your partner, it puts your relationship on a whole new trajectory that you never
Mm-hmm.
even imagined. Um,
Yeah. Right.
um, but yeah, it's when two people are dealing with it at the same time. I think the biggest lesson that I learned is that we can't expect the other person to behave and deal with things the same way we do.
Absolutely. I agree.
So I think that that's huge. And
Mm-hmm.
people do it, in the world with their friends, family, whatever. They'll say, why you still worrying about this, or why didn't you should be able to get over it because I did. People do this
Right.
inside relationships too, and it's one of my pet peeves because it's like I'm not you.
And you not me.
I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't raised like you. I have
Right.
different things that have happened in my life. I'm not you.
Right.
And it I've experienced that over multiple relationships in my life, and it just used to burn me up because I'm like, people would make assumptions about,
Uh-huh.
you know, your moods, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like, I legitimately am fine, and they want to put it on you because, well, I'm mad. How come you're not mad like I am?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Projecting. Yes.
I'm like, do you see this mild mannered, chilling dude? My anger don't look like yours. It's never gonna look like yours.
Right.
And they put things on you. Let me read this comment from Laura Hunter. It says, we get too deep in our feelings and we conform to this world instead of being transformed by the renewing of our mind. We take our own worldly views. So
Mm.
yeah, we really, like I always tell my wife, like, we got to get over ourselves. Like I say
We
that all the time.
do.
Like we got to get over ourselves because those things that go on in our heads, it's sometimes it's not real. Like we make up these things. We talked about this earlier in the show tonight. We make up these things. We make up how somebody's going to react, and we make it true. And then we be mad at a
Mhm.
whole person that we didn't even have a conversation with them yet. It's
Right.
the it's the
Right.
silly.
Are mad
It's,
at a thing that is it doesn't exist. Like we
so
project, we overthink, and I know I'm an overthinker. Like it's ridiculous, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay, you need to calm down because it's not like this. But I'm one of those people that, yeah, actions speak louder than words, but I need to hear stuff every now and then. I need to
mm,
hear, like, how do you feel? What's going on? You know, I don't know. That's just
yeah,
how I've always been. I need some talk. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation.
yeah. So I do want to recap a couple things that you said earlier because we on the downslope now.
Okay.
Um, so now we've kind of talked about kind of what it's like inside the relationship and how the couple may communicate or not communicate with each other. So now I want to talk about, and you spoke about it earlier, but I want you to repeat, being in a situation where you're overwhelmed or whatever the thing is. What are some of the ways that either you have done or you believe that people can start to work their way out of it so that they can kind of nurture a better relationship moving forward?
Well, for me, it starts with prayer. And I don't, I'm a woman of faith, so I love God. I pray to God, just find somebody that you can have an anchor to work through it, to talk to. Um, I also meditate. I get up in the morning, I drink water. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what I be doing at night because I wake up thirsty, but I drink water. I put cold water on my face just to wake myself up. And I sit with myself just a little bit to be in that space of gratitude, to thank God that I have a new day, to have a new experience and be better than I was yesterday. So that's how I get through feeling overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
um and I also had to realize that life is bigger than me. Not everything revolves around me. People don't owe me anything. I know I owe everything to myself. I don't hold on to things that I don't have control over, and neither should you. And if you don't like the way your life is going, do something about it to change.
Right.
It may be just a tiny little inkling of something that you can do differently tomorrow if you're blessed to see that you did today. Like, drink more water, eat
Right.
more vegetables, read a book that will give you more insight to thinking positively, positively, or financial freedom, or something that will
Mm-hmm.
inspire you to change and grow and evolve into the person that you're supposed to be, operating as. And that's just how I look at life. My mindset is totally different than what it used to be 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Things that used to bother me 5 years ago are minute because of the experience that my family and I experienced 2 years ago. Like,
Mm-hmm.
one minute you're here, the next minute you're gone.
Right.
So why am I holding on to things that just don't matter? If it's not going to affect your life in 20 minutes, why you holding on to it?
Right.
Let it go.
Yeah. 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 Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
I think for me it was let me read Laura Hunter's comment first. Because we take it to the future and we run a lot to the past instead of staying in the present. Yeah,
Mm,
we be in
yeah.
our heads,
Hmm.
and so for me, I think what helped what helped me. Well, I'm always a introspective person, but it really took like I said, I would still be going through if my body didn't shut me down,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And that's really a big lesson that I always try to tell people. You don't want to get it to that point. You want to identify, like when we're going through, we know we ain't feeling right. We know we doing too much.
Hmm.
Slow down, sit down, take a nap.
Yeah.
But
Naps are awesome.
yeah, when you are going through things, we feel like we're the only one. No one. Here's another point I want to make too. When we put on our partners that we can't share with them because they won't understand what I'm going through. Here's it, and I had to learn this over time because I've held things back because of that reason. I've also had
Hmm.
people hold things back because they're like, you won't get what I'm going through. The lesson
Hmm.
that I learned was your partner is there to kind of be a pillow for you to lay on. They don't have to know every
Right.
detail. They don't have to know exactly what you're going through. But while you're going through it, just to know that somebody is there to give you that hug or to say, you know what, whatever it is, when you're ready to tell me, I'm here for you, which you need me to get you some water. That in itself
Hmm.
is enough to help a lot of people push to the point where they can start, looking towards helping themselves or seeking help, right? Because I'd be
Absolutely.
remiss in talking about therapy and counseling and coaching and those type of things because sometimes we're not capable of fixing it ourselves. We need to get over ourselves and step and have somebody else
Hmm.
look at it from the outside and say, hey, you might need to move left instead of right because the outcome may be different. But when we going through, especially people that are in survival mode, like financially and just trying to get it and the days are running together and you're burning the candle at both ends, it's hard to stop and sit down and really like digest that something may be wrong or you're treating your family a certain way and that's not who
Hmm.
you are. It's almost kind of like an out of body experience. Like you think you're doing everything right and everything around you is looking at you like yo, like you haven't really been spending that much time with me. We haven't gone out. It's because I'm working. I got to make sure everything, and it's like you're not mindful about the kids and the wife
Uh-huh.
and you just I gotta grind, and it's
Just
like
going through the motions. Tunnel
yeah,
vision.
yeah, and we all I've had to learn this like in the like past few years that you got to sit down sometimes. Like you have to breathe and
Hmm.
you have to meditation. I'm still trying to find my sweet spot with that because
Hmm.
people have told me to do certain things and I'm like that's not for me.
Hmm.
But like for me right now it's music.
Hmm.
I tried like look, when I tell you I tried the crashing waters and the sounds I had a singing bowl. I did it.
Oh,
I went through the whole thing and I was like,
yeah.
that's not it.
No.
No. And so I from my experience, this is just me. if something doesn't work, it doesn't mean you stop trying to figure it out, because that peace of mind means everything.
Right.
And this cliche to say, but if you fall, all those people you trying to help, they won't have you. So it
Right.
doesn't even matter at that point. So yeah. Yeah, Love Tucker says
Yeah.
one can meditate for a minute. It doesn't need to be so deep. And that's the
It
thing,
does.
right? I was going off of what I see on TV,
Oh
just
God.
people sitting there like this, and I'm like,
No.
no, that's not working either. And so I was like, maybe I should try that, because I knew I needed to do it. That's the thing. Like,
Uh-huh.
I knew I needed to do something to calm myself, and I was trying. I went through the whole list, and I was like, nope, 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 nope. And then one day I was just sitting listening to my little old school R&B music, and I was like,
Yeah, yes.
and I was
The
like,
point the point
maybe
is to
that's
make
my
sure
thing.
your body and your mind are like on speaking terms.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
when they don't talk, everything just gets off balance. And
yeah.
so with meditation, a lot of people don't realize that you don't have to just sit in that state. You can use like your music. You could
Hmm.
have been focusing on a lyric or the beat or the rhythm or whatever for however long you was focusing on it. That's a form of meditation.
Right,
You're
right.
just doing it the way that works for you. And you have to
Exactly.
find what works for you, because not everything works for everybody. And it's
You're right.
okay. That doesn't mean that it doesn't work for the other person. It's just I have to find another way to tap into it.
Yeah. And that the thing is when I realized that I needed to sit down and slow down, only then was I able to then share.
Hmm.
Because when you in the middle of it, don't nobody know what I'm going through. I'ma just keep it to myself. But when you actually can calm your mind,
Hmm.
when you can find that inner peace, and maybe you have to make some adjustments in your life, right? We always
Hmm.
talk about boundaries on this show. You're gonna have to maybe
Oh
tell some
yeah.
people no
Mm. Oh.
that you normally don't say no to, like
Hmm.
family and kids, and hey kid, my kid or whatever, hey, we can't do what you think we gonna do, because daddy need to rest today. So
Right.
you have to be able to do that, or you're gonna it's disastrous to you mentally. Could be
Hmm.
fit, like for me it was physical,
Hmm.
because I developed like things that I didn't even know what to call it, like anxiety, and like when I was going through anxiety, my forearms would start feeling like tingly and numb, and I
Hmm.
was like, and every
What
time
is
that I
this?
felt that anxiety, it would happen the same way, and then the stress and the blood
Hmm.
pressure, and I was just like, this is new, like what? And then when I started like mapping it out to like those moments,
Hmm.
I was like, yo, dude, you need to sit down, man, and you're gonna have to have some hard conversations with
Hmm.
whomever, and just say, look, I can't keep running on all cylinders. Um,
Right.
TK's Chronicles of a
TK.
Black Sheep says anxiety is the devil.
It
Yeah,
is like my
man.
anxiety when mine was hit, and I just realized this like a couple months ago. My toes will lock up.
Mm.
Like my toes will just lock up, and I'm like, look at my like it was ridiculous. And my husband always laugh. I'm like, wait, look at my toes. He's like, what is going on with you? I didn't know it at the time, but that was my anxiety kicking in.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
anxious about something, and I needed to get that release. So my toes, I guess, was like, hey, we got to get this out of here some type of way.
yeah.
But yeah, it didn't feel good at all.
From the mind of Cece said, yeah, I used to have anxiety attacks, not a good feeling. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't get to that point though, but I probably easily could have if I didn't like, and I know people that don't want to um mute down people who actually deal with it like on a serious level. Like mine was light compared to what I know some people go through. Um, but at any means, if you know that it's something that's really affecting your life, like you may want to get somebody to get some help, somebody that a therapist or something like that, or whoever you may want to go to, just to kind of bounce it off of, because you know we're talking about health, we're talking about things that's happening to your body. It's serious. And to the point of this show, and I'm gonna read these comments because now they I must have hit a nerve.
Yeah, they coming in.
uh,
Yeah.
Here's the point
Love,
to
so
the
that means stay your ass right here.
right to the point of the show, right? We go through these things, and a lot of times we isolate, and it's like you're isolating, but you in a household, you live with somebody, and it's like, how does that work functionally? How does that work when when you are, you know, responsible for things that's happening in the household? You're responsible for each other, and you're isolating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel good to you, and it definitely doesn't feel good to the other party, because they're like, yo, like, this isn't the person I married. Like, what's going on?
Right. What's wrong with me where they can't be open and honest with me? Man,
Yeah.
real. Yeah. Been there. Yep.
Uh,
Oh, and I'm listening. I'm looking at the anxiety attacks. I didn't have an anxiety attack. It may be. It was a panic attack for me, where I
right,
was just
right.
going and going and going, not getting enough rest. And I knew my body was saying, "Hey, you need to rest." I'm feeling some type of way, and I
Yeah.
didn't listen. So one day I was in my bathroom, and it just hit me. It felt like something jumped on me that weighed 1,000 pounds, and I
Mm,
could not move, and I stayed that way for about 5 minutes. And then I was able to go and lay down in my bed. And I think I slept for like 8 hours because my body and my mind was like, you done today. And when
yeah.
I woke up, I felt so drained, but it was like almost I was able to breathe again. So yeah, I get it.
Hmm.
I get it. And I
Yeah.
and I said I will never push myself that hard again and neglect my body like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
See what's the things that I've gone through under that umbrella of like depression, stress, anxiety.
Wow.
My just to recap, didn't happen until I got older. I think my
Mm-hmm.
younger body felt like I could handle it, but
Mm-hmm.
when once I hit 40, my body was like, dude, no more, no
Yeah,
more.
them forties,
You
them
can't do
forties.
it.
It's
You
almost
can't.
like a light bulb come
You
on. Like,
can't.
no, we ain't doing that. We over that.
Yeah, every time I feel like there's a minute possibility that something might stress me out, I'll be like, "You got it. Go ahead. I'm good
Oh
over here.
yeah,
I can't.
yeah.
I don't. We not doing that." So
Jonathan bring you.
let me.
Wow, from the mind of Cece said exactly. Take that PTO. Had 4 people die at my job. 2 had heart attacks right at their desk. Wow,
See, that's what
replaced
I'm,
within a
man.
week.
She
Oh,
said PTO, man. Let me tell. Well, let me read these comments because I'm one of those people, man. I got more PTO than any 10 people I know.
mm,
Um, Dope discussions. Erica says we have to keep in our minds that these jobs will replace us when we die. So why kill ourselves early trying to be the perfect employee? Take your damn PTO. I hear you,
mm-hmm.
Erica.
Yes, Erica.
Everybody in my life is like, yo, what are you doing? Let me tell you. Well, let me read these because y'all gonna be astonished when I tell you how many hours of PTO I got.
Oh
Um,
wow.
TK's Chronicles of a Black Sheep says, I feel like I was a mule kicked when I have anxiety attacks. See, that's what I'm saying, man. Imagine feeling like that and telling your significant other, I'm all right.
Right. Yeah.
So
And they
that,
already know. They can feel that energy. They can feel the
yeah,
energy. They can see the facial expression, your mannerisms, and all of that. They know.
yeah. And John Singletary said singing Breathe Again. Yeah, CC says it was horrible there. So glad they laid me off.
Mm.
TK said we know you have I have 420 hours of PTO.
Are you serious? Wow.
So I so so I am purposely using it now.
Yes.
Um Josh says that man has like
17,000.
17,000 hours of PTO. Yeah, I was that guy. I never took off because I wanted to make sure that everything was cool at work, and I didn't want nobody with my name in their
Mm.
mouth. So I made sure that I over did it, and everybody around me was like, my wife, my family, everybody was like, take your time. And I was like, no, if I take off, then the stuff not gonna get done, and then they're gonna blame it on me. And I had all these excuses.
Excuses.
And
Yes. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So So I'm intentionally going to do what I need to do this year and get it in. But yeah, I got to it's ridiculous. TK says
Right.
she wish she had a job that had PTO. Yeah,
Me
yeah,
too.
it's a
Me
lot.
too.
And
Me too.
it's even worse now because I work from home. So it's like,
Hmm.
you know, sometimes though you do just still have to take it even working from because it doesn't even feel like I'm in the office. So I just be like, you know what, I can still go to the store and do what I got to do, come back and still be on the clock and whatever. Wait, I say
Yeah.
that out loud there. So
Yeah, you did.
so yeah, so we gonna start wrapping this up. But yeah, see, like everybody that's in the comments, man, it's like, and that's a testament to what we do, what you do, what I do, and spreading the word about just life and how life, because people will start to see themselves in us. People will start to see themselves in other people in the comments, and you'll realize that you're not the only one going through it. You'll
Right.
realize like somebody's gonna watch this show and say, maybe I do need to talk to my wife. Maybe I do need to talk to my husband. That sounds just like me. So what we do, even though people trivialize it, the podcasters and the coaches and all of that, oh, you haven't gone to school for whatever. No, this is real life. People go through some real stuff, and
Hmm.
all it takes sometimes is for you to identify with somebody else who's going through it to get you over that hurdle to try to start looking for help or identifying that you need help. So that's why when I come on here, it could be one person on here, it could be 10 people on here. Those YouTubes and whatever else, they live in perpetuity. Somebody may come back 3 months from now. So I'm on
Absolutely.
go no matter how many people on here.
Right. You have to. You have
So
to.
so yeah, Erica says I used to give my PTO back to the company because I didn't use it. Not no more.
Not
Yeah,
no
see,
more.
nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. Yo, look. One year, they can only pay us out like 40 hours every year. I took
Hmm.
the 40 hours. I took the 40 hours and for them to pay it out to me, and I still had like 450. Like it was just it was
Ridiculous.
ridiculous. It was
Yes.
ridiculous because I wanted to do more because I'm like, I got all this PTO. Let me do you take 100 of them, and then they was like, nah, you can only do 40. So,
Wow.
but yeah, I hear everybody. I'm doing it. I'm
Do
doing it.
it.
I'm doing it. So, and
Summertime
especially
coming. Yeah, take some vacations or something.
yeah, we gonna get it together. Me and Alicia are due a vacation. We're due several, so we gonna get that in. And yeah, so just to kind of wrap up the show, y'all comments made this thing go to almost an hour because I was wrapping up like 15 minutes ago.
Miss Laura
But
said,
that's
"Give me
good though.
some."
That's good. That's good. That's what the engagement is everything for me.
Oh, I love the
Um,
engagement.
so so just to kind of wrap this up, for anyone who's listening, you have to pay attention to not just your body but your behavior.
Yes.
We know when we're moving different, and it's
Hmm.
not fair to your significant other for them not to know anything about what you're going through because they are the primary person. Like when you fill out your little medical, like if you married and they say who's the person to contact, that person can't
Hmm.
know something wrong with you. That's your primary like, come on, man.
That's a perfect example.
And it's like even if that primary person is your mama, somebody got to know something's going on because it could be deadly. It literally could be dead. Like the stuff Cece was talking about, going through that by yourself. Like imagine going through feeling like that by yourself, cause not because no one wants to help, cause you won't tell them.
Right.
That's the key. That's the whole
Mm.
thing about tonight is you have to say something in order for and you have to trust that your partner loves you enough to help. I know some of us are in situations where that's probably not possible, but somebody got to know. Because one of those days you're gonna be laid out on the floor somewhere, and nobody gonna know that anything's
That's
going
right.
on, and you might not get
Hmm.
back up. So
Right.
I know that sounds crazy, but it happens every day,
It happens every
and
day.
and um I'm gonna read that. I know it's something. It's got to be something funny. So I'm gonna read that John's comment in a minute because I see it. My peripheral sees it. So yeah. So is there anything that you wanted to touch on or lead out with? And if so, say it. And if not, let people know how they can find you on social media.
No, I just want to say to anybody who's listening or watching to just make sure that you take care of you, because when you are not operating as your highest self, everything around you get thrown off balance. So just be intentional and be mindful of your body, your thoughts, because that plays a big part in our mental health. Because sometimes we make things bigger than what they are, and there we don't need to, and it's subconsciously we don't realize that we're doing it until it's actually up on us. So just be intentional every day of being your very best self by just loving on yourself. Self-love is not selfish. If anything, it makes you a better person because you know who you are, so you're able to live in that truth. And meet people where they are. You may have a
Yeah.
spouse or a partner that is not into communicating the way that you're communicating, but start somewhere.
Yeah.
Start
For sure.
somewhere.
For sure.
Yeah, so
And how
that's
can
all I
people
have to
find you?
say.
How can people find you on social media, follow you, or if there's anything you got coming up that you want to point people to?
Well, I have my podcast, and I drop new episodes every Thursday. It is Kicking It with Kiki without the G on kicking. I am on Instagram at the Kiki Chanel. I'm on Facebook at Kiki Chanel, or you can visit my website. It has all the information on there. It's www.thekikichanel.com. Yeah, nothing really coming up. Just focusing on life and podcasting and life coaching and all that other stuff. That's what I do.
That's amazing. Y'all make sure y'all follow her on Instagram. I swear y'all if y'all follow her for more than a day or two, y'all gonna smile because she be out there. She be smiling all over the place. She be on everybody's show. Just go
Yep,
follow her, man. It's gonna make you feel good if nothing else. That's a
that's what
testament
I
to
try
your
to.
energy, man. Like I really like I didn't have a conversation with you before today, but just watching how you move online and how you affect people and the people that you connect with and the promoting of other people's stuff, and we don't have to do these things. So
Right.
that just says a lot about who you are as a person. So I'm more than happy and honored to have you here. And this ain't gonna be your last time. We gotta do this again.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Look, I
I
got a topic that I want to put you on for sure. So I will be reaching it out. I will be reaching out soon.
I do want to read Laura Hunter's comment last. If you know God, talk to him first. Some of these people you can't talk to without him. So yeah. It's
Right.
some folks that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna just leave that there. So everybody, as usual, you can find me at relationshipgumbo.info online, and that'll funnel you everywhere you need to go. Make sure you follow me on Instagram because I do pop up lives on there, and they're a little less scripted than they are on the podcast nights, and we just have fun. And y'all know I got things coming down the pipe, and relationship academy, online courses, and ebooks, and all this stuff is popping off. I'm giving myself some grace and time. June 1st is my target date to launch it, so I'm putting that out into the universe. So to keep my own foot on my own neck, I got to get it done. So look out for that. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be something that is atypical because it's not gonna be like a typical class. It's gonna be like you sitting in the living room with your cousin or your homie. I don't
Okay.
want to I don't want to scare you. I want to help you and help you heal and help you make better decisions. So I don't want to seem like I'm professoring you to death. So we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have fun with it, but it's gonna be something amazing, and you can get it on demand anytime you want it, 24 hours a day. So I'm excited about that. So guys, just stay tuned. Um, Laura Hunter, talk if you gotta blow snot bubbles behind it. Talk. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true, very true, very true. So we're gonna get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of your night. I think Love Tucker said she's on live on IG at 9 o'clock, so that's like right now. So I'm gonna head over there and support her. And just stay tuned, stay safe, keep everybody safe around you, but especially take care of yourself. So on that note,
Yep.
we out of here, you guys. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. See you next week, same time, same place. Have a good night.
Bye.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better.